I was glad when somebody told me, you may go and collect Negro folklore. In a way, it had not been a new experience for me. When I pitched head foremost into the world, I landed in the crib of Negroism. From the earliest rocking of my cradle, I had known about the capers a Brer Rabbit is apt to cut and what the squinch owl says from the housetop. But it was fitting me like a tight chemise. I couldn't see it for wearing it. It was only when I was off in college, away from my native surroundings, that I could see myself like somebody else and stand off and look at my garden. Then I had to have the spyglass of anthropology to look through at that. Dr. Bose asked me where I wanted to work, and I said Florida, and gave as my big reason that Florida is a place that draws people, white people, from all over the world, and Negroes from every southern state surely, and some from the north and west. So I knew that this was possible for me to get a cross-section of Negro South in one state. And then I realized that I was new myself, so it looked sensible for me to choose familiar ground. First place I aimed to stop and collect materials was Eatonville, Florida. And now I'm going to tell you why I decided to go to my native village first. I didn't go back there so that the home folks could make admiration over me because I had been up north to college and come back with a diploma and a Chevrolet. I knew they were not going to pay either of these items too much mind. I was just Lucy Hurston's daughter, Zora. And even if I had, to use one of our down-home expressions, had a Kaiser baby, and that's something that hasn't been done in this country yet, I'd still just be Zora to the neighbors. If I had exalted myself to impress the town, somebody would have sent me a word in a matchbox that I had been up north there and had rubbed the hair off my head against some college wall, and then come back there with a lot of form and fashion and outside show to the world. But they stand flat-footed and tell me that they didn't have me, neither my sham polish to study about, and that would be that. I hurried back to Eatonville because I knew that the town was full of material and that I could get it without hurt, harm, or danger. As early as I could remember, it was the habit of the men folks particularly to gather on the store porch of the evenings and swap stories. Even the women folks would stop by and break a breath with them at times. As a child, when I was sent down to Joe Clark's store, I'd drag out me leaving as long as possible in order to hear more. Folklore is not as easy to collect as it sounds. The best source is where there are the least outside influences, and these people, being usually underprivileged, are the shyest. They are most reluctant at times to reveal that which the soul lives by. And the Negro, in spite of his open-faced laughter, his seemingly acquiescence is particularly evasive. You see, we are a polite people, and we do not say to our questioner, "Get out of here." We smile and tell him or her something that satisfies the white person because, knowing so little about us, he doesn't know what he is missing. The Indian resists curiosity by a stony silence. The Negro offers a feather-bed resistance. That is, we let the probe enter, but it never comes out. It gets smothered under a lot of laughter and pleasantries. The theory behind our tactics. The white man is always trying to know into somebody else's business. All right, I'll set something outside the door of my mind for him to play with and handle. He can read my writings, but he sure can't read my mind. I'll put this play toy in his hand and he will seize it and go away. And I'll say my say and sing my song. I knew that even I was going to have some hindrance among strangers. But here in Eatonville, I knew everybody was going to help me. So below Palacta, I began to feel eager to be there, and I kicked the little Chevrolet right along. I thought about the tales I had heard as a child, how even the Bible was made over to suit our vivid imagination, how the devil always outsmarted God, and how the over-noble hero Jack or John, not John Henry, who occupies the same place in Negro folklore that Casey Jones does in white lore, and if anything is more recent, outsmarted the devil. Brer Fox, Brer Deer, Brer Gator, Brer Dog, Brer Rabbit, Old Massa and his wife were walking the earth like natural men way back in the days when God himself was on the ground and men could talk with him. Way back there before God waded up the dirt to make the mountains. When I was rounding Lily Lake, I was remembering how God had made the world and the elements and people. He made souls for people, but he didn't give them out because he said, folks ain't ready for souls yet. The clay ain't dry. It's the strongest thing I ever made. Don't aim to waste none through loose cracks. And then men got to grow strong enough to stand it. The way things is now, if I give it out, it would tear them shapely bodies to pieces. Then I'll give it out. So folks went round thousands of years without no souls. All the time, the soul piece was sitting around covered up with God's little fire. Every now and then, the wind would hissed up the cover, and then the elements would be full of light, and the winds would talk. So, people told one another that God was talking in the mountains. The white man passed by it way off, and he looked, but he wouldn't get close enough to touch. The Indian and the Negro, they tipped by cautious too, and all of them seemed the light of diamonds when the wind shook the cover. And the wind that passed over it sung songs. The Jew come past and heard the song from the soul piece, and then he kept on passing, and all of a sudden he grabbed up the soul piece and hid it under his clothes and run off down the road. It burnt him, and tore him, and throwed him down, and lifted him up, and toted him across the mountain. And he tried to break loose, but he couldn't do it. He kept on hollering for help, but the rest of them run hid away from him. Way after a while, they come out of holes and corners and picked up the little chips and pieces that fell back on the ground. So God mixed it up with feelings and gave it out to him. Way after a while, when you catch that Jew, he's going to divide things up more equal. So I rounded Park Lake, and I came speeding down the straight stretch in the east. The city of 5 lakes, 3 croquet courts, 300 brown skins, 300 good swimmers, plenty guavas, 2 schools, and no jailhouse.